Few cars in cinematic history inspire as much curiosity as Gator McKlusky's 1971 Ford Custom 500 from. On the surface, it looks like an ordinary, unassuming full-size sedan, the kind of car that blends into a parking lot. But beneath that plain exterior lies a machine with secrets, quirks, and oddities that reveal the extremes of 1970s filmmaking. From baffling stunt modifications to surprising design choices and practical engineering compromises, this car challenges everything we think we know about movie vehicles. Its story combines Hollywood spectacle, mechanical ingenuity, and moments that make even the most dedicated car fans do a double take. The ultimate sleeper sedan engine. The federal authorities handed Gator McKlusky a vehicle that defined the term sleeper to help him infiltrate a moonshine ring. On the surface, the car appeared to be a mundane brown 1971 Ford Custom 500 four-door sedan. In the real world, this model represented the bottom of the barrel for Ford, usually relegated to taxi fleets or budget-conscious families who just needed basic transportation. However, this specific movie car concealed a massive secret under its long hood. The script explicitly equipped this unassuming sedan with the legendary 429 Police Interceptor engine. This was not a standard commuter motor, but the pinnacle of Ford's big block performance for heavy sedans, engineered specifically to withstand the punishment of high-speed highway pursuits. Stuffing a high-performance police power plant into an entry-level appliance car created a machine that could genuinely outrun corrupt local law enforcement while looking completely innocent parked at a diner. The contrast between the dull brown exterior, the blue interior, and the roaring V8 impressed Gator immediately. It served as the perfect tool for a runner who needed to disappear in plain sight, yet drive with extreme aggression when necessary. This combination of a seemingly boring, high-production sedan body with a hyper-performance engine transformed a slow-moving family cruiser into a bona fide performance machine. The Police Interceptor designation meant this engine was built to deliver significant horsepower and torque, easily handling the stresses of a high-speed chase through rough terrain. The Phantom manual transmission mystery. Viewers paying close attention to the interior action sequences will notice the Custom 500 suffers from a curious case of automotive multiple personality disorder. Throughout the film, Gator McKlusky is frequently depicted expertly slamming a floor-mounted Hurst T-handle shifter, a move that visually demonstrates his driving prowess as a seasoned moonshine runner. Yet, in a flash, the camera cuts to other angles where the car possesses a totally different drivetrain setup. Production sources reveal that the actual standard transmission available in the 1971 Custom 500 was the 3-speed column shift automatic, which was practical for fleet use but lacked cinematic excitement. To properly convey the image of a souped-up performance car driven by a true outlaw, the film dramatically emphasized the presence of a 4-speed manual transmission. A standard column shifter simply could not convey the necessary level of performance and driver control required for the character. The decision to highlight the manual gearbox was a stylistic choice designed to make the protagonist appear as a more aggressive and capable driver. This creates a strange visual tension where the car oscillates between a family cruiser and a race-ready machine depending on the shot. While the 3-speed automatic was the authentic factory specification for these sedans, the filmmakers prioritized the visceral appeal of a driver rowing through the gears, resulting in a legendary continuity error that persists in automotive movie history, passing everything except gas stations. The performance achieved by Gator McKlusky's heavily massaged engine came with a staggeringly steep price tag at the pump. While the 429 Police Interceptor V8 provided explosive acceleration, it effectively turned the Custom 500 into a thirsty beast that was highly impractical for legitimate moonshine operations. Equipped with a massive high-compression engine and a heavy-breathing Holley 4-barrel carburetor, this vehicle averaged less than 9 miles per gallon. This statistic means the car could pass just about anything on the highway, except for a gas station. This abysmal fuel efficiency created a dramatic trade-off between raw power and operational range. In the high-stakes business of illegal liquor running, minimizing stops is crucial for survival. Yet, this specific setup required frequent and dangerous visits to the pump. A vehicle that needs constant refueling becomes a massive liability during a long-distance run, exponentially increasing the risk of detection by law enforcement. While the sedan could technically outrun any police cruiser in a sprint, it suffered from a critical tactical weakness regarding endurance. This technical detail highlights the cinematic exaggeration of the car's capabilities, as a real runner would likely prioritize a balance of speed and range to avoid being stranded in the backwoods. The sheer thirst of the engine implies that the driver had to worry just as much about his fuel gauge dropping as he did about the flashing lights in his rearview mirror, grounding the fantasy of the invincible movie car in the gritty reality of 1970s big block economics. Unexpected Dukes connection. The 1971 Ford Custom 500 holds a surprising connection to the most famous automotive TV series of the era. Beyond its starring role with Burt Reynolds, this specific model appeared in the universe of the Dukes of Hazzard. In an early episode, the showrunners cast a 1971 Custom 500 as Uncle Jesse's legendary old moonshine runner. This cameo creates a fascinating bridge between the gritty world of White Lightning and the lighthearted antics of Hazzard County. The storyline for the episode even featured the car running on special whiskey fuel, a fictional touch that aligned perfectly with the vehicle's bootlegging heritage. Both productions selected this nondescript sedan to represent the pinnacle of evasion vehicles, highlighting a shared understanding of its capabilities in Hollywood. The boxy, unassuming silhouette was perfect for hiding in plain sight, whether in the Arkansas backwoods or the Georgia dirt roads. This usage implies that during the 1970s, this specific Ford was the unsung hero of the trade, recognized by writers and directors as the definitive sleeper. Seeing the patriarch of the Duke family relying on the same machinery as Gator McKlusky validates the car's status as an icon of rural rebellion, proving its legacy extended far beyond a single film. The Custom 500 was not just a prop, but a universal symbol for the ultimate undercover liquor hauler, the perfect mud-brown sleeper. The brilliance of Gator's vehicle lies in its ability to look completely boring while hiding explosive performance capabilities. The Treasury agent selected the Custom 500 precisely for its capacity to fly under the radar during dangerous operations. Identified as a perfect sleeper, this vehicle was designed to appear utterly ordinary to the casual observer, yet it housed the immense power needed for high-stakes illicit activities. In an automotive era defined by loud graphics, bright colors, and flashy muscle cars, the Custom 500 presented a calculated facade of civility and strict practicality. Its mud-brown paint job served as a significant tactical advantage, rather than just a dull aesthetic choice. This nondescript appearance made it the ideal machine for running moonshine in Bogan County without drawing a second look from the locals. A successful runner knows that anonymity is just as valuable as horsepower, and a car that looks too aggressive would immediately attract the attention of law enforcement. This specific Ford possessed the size to carry heavy loads of liquor and the raw speed to escape, all while looking like a harmless government surplus vehicle or a family sedan. The unassuming exterior transformed the car into a weapon of deception, allowing Gator to operate right under the nose of the corrupt sheriff. It stands as the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing, proving that in the world of bootlegging, the ability to blend into the background is often the difference between freedom and a jail cell. The engine bay visual deception. While the script explicitly promises a massive 429 police interceptor, the reality shown on screen creates a classic piece of cinematic trickery. Filmmakers often sacrifice technical accuracy for visual impact, and this car serves as a prime example of that trade-off. The lone close-up shot of the engine bay reveals a motor that expert observers identify as a 351 Cleveland, rather than the advertised big block. This smaller V8 features a single Holley 4-barrel carburetor, contradicting the massive specifications implied by the dialogue and the lore of the film. The most glaring detail in this deception is the presence of Shelby-branded valve covers sitting atop the engine. Shelby is a name synonymous with high-end Mustangs and Cobras, creating a strange visual clash when found inside the bay of a humble brown sedan supposedly issued by the government. Using these specific valve covers was likely a shorthand way for the production team to signal high performance to the audience, regardless of the actual displacement. This strongly suggests that the crew filmed the engine of a completely different vehicle, perhaps a Mustang, just to get that dramatic insert shot. It highlights that the Custom 500 was less a single, perfectly built machine, and more a collection of cleverly edited components designed to sell the illusion of speed. The resulting continuity error adds a layer of ironic pedigree to the vehicle, giving the gritty moonshine runner a flash of racing heritage it never actually possessed. the mystery of the push bar. Keen-eyed viewers will spot a subtle but intriguing inconsistency involving a mysterious piece of hardware attached to the front bumper of the Ford. Throughout the film, the Custom 500 appears to gain and lose a heavy-duty bar depending on the intensity of the action on screen. This visual discrepancy reveals the practical realities of 1970s filmmaking, distinguishing the pristine hero car driven by Burt Reynolds for close-ups from the workhorse vehicle enduring the actual physical punishment. The added hardware seen specifically on the stunt vehicle functioned as a push bar, a modification essential for survival during the film's most aggressive driving sequences. Operating on rough, unpaved Arkansas back roads places enormous stress on a vehicle's front end. This reinforced bar served to protect critical mechanical components like the radiator, grille, and headlights from debris, brush, and impact damage. Without such reinforcement, a single collision or a hard landing could cripple the cooling system and halt production entirely. The fact that this protective equipment vanishes during dialogue scenes confirms that the production team utilized a fleet of slightly different sedans, each specialized for a specific purpose. One was kept polished to maintain the innocent sleeper aesthetic, while the other was armored up to survive the destruction. This small, often overlooked piece of metal serves as tangible evidence of the dangerous, practical stunt work that defined the era before computer-generated effects took over the industry. Rear glass gone missing. Classic car chase movies often feature continuity errors that reveal the chaotic nature of production, and Gator's ride is no exception. During the high-stakes sequence leading up to the famous barge jump, the Ford Custom 500 performs a baffling disappearing act with its rear windshield. Viewers watching the interior shots will clearly see the glass intact behind the driver, complete with mud spatters that add to the gritty realism of the scene. However, as soon as the edit cuts to a wide exterior angle of the sedan tearing down the dirt road, that rear window is noticeably absent, leaving the cabin completely open to the elements. This jarring visual inconsistency points directly to the harsh realities of using practical stunt vehicles over digital effects. The car utilized for the punishing high-speed exterior shots likely suffered from extreme body flex or prior damage, necessitating the removal of the glass. In the era of practical stunts, crews often removed windows to prevent dangerous shards from injuring the driver during hard landings or collisions. Alternatively, the glass may have simply popped out due to the immense torque and stress placed on the chassis during previous takes. While the production team ensured the close-up hero car remained pristine for the actor, the workhorse vehicle exposes the brutal truth of the action. This error serves as a physical testament to the abuse these props endured, seamlessly edited together to create the illusion of a single, indestructible machine. From ugly to understated cool. While the 1971 Ford Custom 500 is now celebrated as a cult icon of cinema, its visual appeal was not always immediately apparent to the audience. Unlike the sleek sports cars or aggressive muscle coupes typically cast in leading roles, this model was designed with strict functionality in mind. Its boxy, no-frills aesthetic led even dedicated enthusiasts to initially dismiss it as an odd choice for a hero vehicle. The builders of a renowned replica of Gator's vehicle admitted that upon their first viewing of the film decades ago, they considered the sedan to be the ugliest automobile ever selected as a feature car. This harsh initial reaction stems from the car's real-world origins as an economy fleet vehicle, lacking the racing stripes, hood scoops, or aerodynamic lines that usually define Hollywood legends. It possessed a utilitarian shape that screamed taxicab rather than track star. However, this visual dullness is exactly what eventually won fans over. Over time, the perception shifted from regarding it as an ugly duckling to appreciating it as a symbol of muscular, understated confidence. The realization that the car's boring exterior was a deliberate disguise for its high-performance capabilities transformed its reputation. It proves that the vehicle's greatest asset was its refusal to conform to traditional beauty standards, eventually earning it a cult following precisely because it looked like a machine built for work rather than vanity. The practical tribute engine choice. Creating a faithful tribute to Gator McKlusky's ride often requires balancing cinematic lore with real-world mechanical realities. While the film dialogue made the 429 Police Interceptor legendary, the most prominent replica of this vehicle relies on a different power source entirely. The tribute car built by dedicated enthusiasts Jim and Laura Cunningham is motivated by a 351 Windsor V8 rather than the massive big block specified in the script. This divergence highlights a common theme in the world of movie car replicas, where convenience and reliability frequently supersede strict screen accuracy. The 351 Windsor, a robust and respectable engine in its own right, was already installed in the donor vehicle when the project began. Retaining this power plant proved that the true spirit of the Moonshine Runner is not solely defined by cubic inches, but by attitude and auditory presence. Enhanced with aftermarket headers and a dual exhaust system, the smaller displacement V8 successfully replicates the deep, aggressive rumble associated with the character. This setup delivers a driving experience that feels authentic to the film, without the logistical headaches or excessive fuel consumption of the larger Interceptor engine. It demonstrates that capturing the essence of the White Lightning car is less about chasing fictional horsepower numbers and more about recreating the raw, visceral sound that originally captivated audiences. The result is a machine that honors the legend while remaining drivable for the people who keep the history alive. Mopar rims on a Ford. Jim chose Mopar 15-inch wheels rather than Ford rims. The Mopar wheels look close to original and cost $125 for 4 wheels. I'm not sure why, but the same size Ford wheels are roughly $2,000 for steel wheels. This choice highlights an unusual challenge in the world of classic car restoration. Sometimes, the exact original parts are more expensive and harder to source than comparable components from a rival manufacturer. For the Cunningham replica, the need for affordability and practicality outweighed strict brand fidelity. The 15-inch Mopar wheels visually approximated the look of the Custom 500's original rims while remaining economically feasible, allowing the builders to complete the car without spending a fortune on scarce Ford steel wheels. The contrast in cost is remarkable. Original Ford wheels of the same size, which one might assume to be plentiful, were priced around $2,000 for a set, likely due to scarcity among collectors and enthusiasts. Mopar wheels, meanwhile, were abundant and inexpensive, providing a surprisingly effective substitute. This decision reflects the ingenuity required when recreating a movie car from the early 1970s. Builders often balance authenticity, functionality, and budget. And in this case, a competitor's part solved a practical problem without compromising the car's visual integrity. The use of Mopar wheels underscores how hidden details of replica vehicles can involve creative compromises, showing that maintaining the right appearance often matters more than strict adherence to brand-specific components. The perfect outlaw hauler. Federal agents did not merely hand Gator McKlusky a fast car, they supplied him with a machine specifically engineered for illegal activity, and the vehicle's true purpose was carefully hidden beneath its drab exterior, revealing it to be a specialized tool designed expressly for outlaws. The film script explicitly lists a host of heavy-duty upgrades that transformed the ordinary full-size Ford into an unstoppable moonshine runner. This extensive modification list included a massive 429 cubic inch Police Interceptor V8, dual 4-barrel carburetors for maximum fuel delivery, and a close-ratio Hurst 4-speed manual transmission for precise control. Beyond raw speed, the build featured practical enhancements essential for the trade, such as reinforced heavy-duty springs to handle the immense weight of liquid cargo and durable Cooper polyglass tires for traction on loose dirt. This unique combination was specifically summarized as being modified for bootlegging. This designation elevates the sedan from a simple means of transportation to a purpose-built cinematic weapon. It was not an ordinary car that happened to be driven fast, but a vehicle engineered from the ground up to support a criminal enterprise. These modifications ensured the car could navigate rough, unpaved back roads while carrying significant weight and still outrun any pursuit. This level of specific engineering reinforces its status as the perfect outlaw hauler, symbolizing the clandestine skill required for successful moonshining and providing a narrative justification for the incredible abuse the car withstands. The humble corporate fleet workhorse. To truly appreciate the legend of Gator McKlusky's vehicle, one must understand its mundane origins in the real world. The 1971 Ford Custom 500 four-door was fundamentally designed to be invisible, serving as the unsung hero of corporate America. In the automotive hierarchy of the time, this model represented the absolute bottom of the full-size Ford line. It was classified as the entry-level Ford, a designation that meant the manufacturer prioritized function, low cost, and sheer durability over flashy features or excessive style. Automotive historians characterize this model as a dependable workhorse and a no-frills machine. It was the kind of vehicle purchased in large batches by government agencies, taxi companies, and utility services, solidifying its reputation as a truly anonymous appliance. This position below the Galaxy 500 and the LTD meant it was often overlooked by average consumers looking for luxury. This specific history makes its transformation into a high-performance movie star a classic case of cinematic irony. The Custom 500 was the antithesis of the muscle car era, built for economic endurance rather than quarter-mile times. This is precisely why it functioned as the perfect sleeper for the film. No one expected a simple, robust, entry-level sedan to possess the capability to outrun high-performance pursuits. Its inherent plainness became its genius disguise, allowing the most unassuming car on the road to hide the heart of a racer. The filmmakers essentially took the automotive equivalent of a generic office tool and turned it into a weapon of rebellion. The actual factory 5.8 engine. While the film loudly proclaims the aggressive power of the 429 police interceptor, the truth about the Custom 500's real mechanical heart is much more modest and sensible. The actual standard engine installed under the hood of the 1971 Ford Custom 500 was a 351 cubic inch V8. This unit was not designed for drag strips or high-speed evasion, but was engineered specifically for long-term durability. Ford prioritized creating a reliable vehicle for the masses and commercial fleets, meaning the engine was tuned to deliver steady torque rather than explosive horsepower. This creates a sharp distinction between the cinematic legend and the showroom reality. The 351 V8 offered ample power suitable for a full-size sedan, making it reliable for daily driving, carrying heavy loads, and general taxi use. It reflects the car's practical heritage as a stable, predictable machine intended for enduring service. The stock vehicle was effectively a tool for getting from point A to point B without drama. This mundane reality underscores just how extreme the fictional modifications were, as turning this civilian workhorse into a moonshine runner required replacing its dependable, low-maintenance heart with a high-strung monster that had no business being in a family sedan. Stock acceleration was quite slow. Although the film depicts Gator McKlusky blasting away from law enforcement with tire-shredding force, the raw factory specifications for a typical 1971 Custom 500 reveal a much more lethargic reality. The actual performance metrics indicate that acceleration was quite leisurely, even for the era. A standard model required anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds just to reach 60 miles per hour. The quarter-mile times were equally modest, clocking in between 16 and 20 seconds. These cold, hard numbers place the vehicle firmly in the category of a heavy family cruiser rather than a muscle car. With a curb weight hovering between 3,500 and 4,000 pounds, the stock factory suspension and engine tuning prioritized passenger comfort and long-term durability over speed. While the top speed ranged from 105 to 120 miles per hour, achieving those velocities took a significant amount of road and time. This data exposes the massive gap between the cinematic portrayal and the showroom floor product. If the character had been driving an unmodified version, the high-stakes chases would have ended quickly and ignominiously. This performance deficit confirms that the specific high-performance upgrades mentioned in the script, such as the police interceptor engine, were not just flavor text, but essential narrative requirements to make the car's escape capabilities mathematically possible. Transmission trickery revealed on screen. While the audience frequently sees Gator aggressively banging through gears using a floor-mounted Hurst T-handle, a closer look at the footage reveals a jarring conflict within the cabin. In one fleeting moment, the character is clearly shown moving a standard column-mounted lever into the park position. This specific action is mechanically impossible for a car equipped with the 4-speed manual transmission depicted during the high-octane driving sequences. This visual slip-up serves as undeniable proof that the production team was utilizing multiple vehicles with different configurations to piece together the performance. The exciting, tight close-up shots of the manual shifter were likely filmed in a completely different environment. Expert analysis suggests these specific inserts actually match the interior geometry of a 1971 to 1973 Ford Mustang, rather than the full-size Custom 500 sedan. The Mustang was a dedicated performance platform that would naturally feature such a sporting setup, unlike the fleet-oriented sedan, which almost exclusively came with an automatic. By splicing these aggressive gear-changing shots into the footage of the automatic-equipped stunt car, the editors successfully created the illusion of total manual control. This trick allowed the heavy sedan to appear far more engaging and driver-focused than the actual prop car used on set. It stands as a massive giveaway that the visceral connection between the driver and his machine was a carefully constructed cinematic fabrication designed to enhance the fantasy of the moonshine runner. Agile moves for massive dimensions. The 1971 Ford Custom 500 was built on a full-size platform that was truly massive by modern standards, contributing to its reputation as a heavy road hugger. The technical specifications reveal that the Custom Series featured a wheelbase measuring exactly 121 inches. This substantial distance between the front and rear axles defined the scale of the vehicle, positioning it as a dominant presence on the American road. In a practical sense, this length was engineered to provide a smooth, floating ride and generous interior space, making it the ideal choice for family road trips or highway patrol cruising. However, this massive footprint creates a startling contradiction when compared to the vehicle's behavior on screen. A wheelbase of this magnitude is typically associated with straight-line stability rather than cornering agility. Performance vehicles and rally cars generally utilize much shorter wheelbases to change direction quickly without losing momentum. Seeing Gator McKlusky slide this lumbering giant through tight, winding Arkansas backroads defies the expected handling characteristics of the era. Executing rapid hairpin turns and precise maneuvers with such a long chassis requires immense driving skill and likely significant suspension tuning. The fact that this boat-like sedan could dance through the dirt with the grace of a sports car highlights the exaggerated reality of the film. The stock dimensions were designed for comfort, not complex evasive driving, making its on-screen agility a feat of stunt driving that transcended the engineering limitations of the chassis. The underpowered base engine. If the 1971 Custom 500 had been ordered in its most basic configuration, the performance output would drop to an astonishingly low figure that contradicts the movie's aggressive energy. While the film centers on the prowess of a roaring V8, Ford actually offered a humble inline six-cylinder engine as the standard entry point for this model. The absolute base power plant was the 240 cubic inch inline six, which produced a meager 120 horsepower. This engine was engineered strictly for maximum fuel economy and low production costs, intended primarily for municipal fleets or budget-conscious buyers where speed was completely irrelevant. Comparing this 120 horsepower figure to the 375 horsepower supposedly generated by the fictional 429 Police Interceptor reveals a shocking difference in capability. The base engine output represents nearly 1/3 of what the movie car claimed to possess. At only 120 horsepower, moving the heavy mass of a full-size sedan would have been a slow, laborious process, likely making the vehicle feel severely underpowered, even during normal highway driving. This data point emphasizes the massive gulf between the mundane reality of the entry-level model and the fantasy of the super sleeper. Attempting to perform the dramatic chase sequences seen in the film with this reliable but feeble engine would have been physically impossible. It serves as the perfect counterpoint to the aggressive reputation of the car, reminding enthusiasts that the Custom 500 was technically born as a gentle giant rather than a muscle machine. The definitive police fleet vehicle. Gator's car was designed to look like a generic government vehicle, an identity deeply rooted in the model's actual market dominance. The Ford Custom Series served as the primary police and taxi fleet model across North America throughout the 1960s and early 1970s. This specific lineage explains why the 1971 Custom 500 was the perfect casting choice for both the undercover sleeper driven by the protagonist and the marked cruisers chasing him. It created a unique visual dynamic where the hero and the villains were essentially driving the same machinery, distinguished only by their paint jobs and light bars. The widespread availability of these vehicles provided a significant practical benefit for the filmmakers. Production history confirms that several Ford Custom 500s were completely destroyed during the filming process. Because these sedans were mass-produced for utility rather than collected for their beauty, they were viewed as expendable assets. The production team could acquire multiple identical units cheaply and sacrifice them for the spectacular jumps and crashes that define the movie. Unlike rare muscle cars that required careful handling, these common fleet sedans were ready to be driven off ramps, into ditches, or submerged in rivers without hesitation. This abundance allowed for a level of vehicular violence that would have been financially impossible with more exclusive models. The car's status as a disposable workhorse was ultimately the very reason it became an immortal piece of stunt history. Heavy roadboats don't float. The film's thrilling climax serves as the ultimate proving ground for Gator McKlusky's expert driving abilities and the superior capabilities of his customized machine. Throughout the lengthy pursuit, Gator maneuvers with precision through the rough rural terrain, pushing his pursuers far beyond their mechanical and physical limits. The sequence reaches its breaking point when the villainous Sheriff Connors attempts to match these evasive actions, but fails spectacularly. Unable to handle the complex driving line set by the moonshine runner, the pursuing patrol car launches off the road, catching huge air before crashing violently into a lake. This moment visually confirms that heavy roadboats simply do not float. The sheriff's vehicle, likely a similar Ford sedan variant, meets an immediate and watery demise. It highlights a critical distinction between the two drivers. Gator utilizes his vehicle as a precise instrument of escape, while the sheriff is merely a passenger in a heavy object, adhering to the laws of physics. The image of the massive full-size sedan, achieving momentary flight only to sink like a stone, serves as a powerful metaphor for the heavy-handed and corrupt nature of the local law enforcement. They could not keep pace with a true outlaw who knew both his car and the land better than they did. The scene cements the legacy of the Custom 500, not just as a fast car, but as a survivor that leaves its enemies washed up in its wake. The 1971 Ford Custom 500 from White Lightning serves as a perfect example of how movie magic can elevate a humble machine into an automotive icon. We have uncovered how an entry-level fleet sedan was transformed into a moonshining legend through clever editing and sheer charisma. From the mythical 429 Police Interceptor engine that was actually a practical 351 Windsor in disguise, to the baffling transmission that switched between a 4-speed manual and a column-shift automatic, depending on the camera angle, this car is a fascinating bundle of contradictions. It even rolled on mismatched parts, with the most famous replica requiring Mopar wheels just to stay on budget. Yet, despite being initially dismissed as ugly and designed to look like a boring government workhorse, Gator McKlusky's ride remains the definition of a sleeper. It proves that you do not need a flashy sports car to make cinematic history. You just need a heavy foot, a little bit of mud, and a story that refuses to slow down.